presented by Soundlibra.com. Explore more titles via the link in the description or at Soundlibra.com. Let's explore how reflection can change your life. Just a quick heads up before we get started. While we're discussing mental habits and growth, this content is for educational purposes and isn't medical or mental health advice. So always consult a professional for your specific needs.
We're often so busy doing, we forget to pause and think.
Exactly. We'll share practical strategies for making reflection a powerful tool for growth.
And it all starts with the cornerstone, the weekly review. Alex, why is this so crucial?
We live in a world that demands constant attention. Without a dedicated time to step back, it's easy to get caught up in the urgent instead of the important.
So, we end up reacting instead of being proactive about what we want to achieve?
Precisely. That's living life on autopilot. You go through the motions, and another week flies by. You might not remember where your energy went. Does that sound familiar?
Oh, absolutely. It feels like you're running hard but not getting anywhere significant. Busy but not sure if it's with the right things.
The weekly review acts as your personal radar. It's a dedicated checkpoint, a deliberate pause to look back at the past 7 days. It helps you see the bigger picture.
So, it's like hitting pause on the treadmill, getting off, and checking your map to see if you're running in the right direction?
That's a fantastic analogy. The weekly review is your opportunity to check that map. It allows you to assess what worked well, what didn't, and what you learned. It's about self-awareness and intelligent adjustment.
And I imagine it helps in celebrating successes too, right? We often focus on what went wrong.
Absolutely. Acknowledging your wins, no matter how small, is crucial. When you're in the thick of things, it's easy to overlook progress. A weekly review provides a space to recognize your efforts. This builds momentum.
That makes so much sense. It's a positive reinforcement loop. You see you've accomplished something, you acknowledge it, and that makes you more likely to keep pushing forward.
Exactly. And beyond looking back, the weekly review is about looking forward. It's where you gather insights from the past week to inform your plan for the week ahead. It's your weekly strategic planning session.
So, it connects the past to the future, ensuring your actions are more intentional and aligned with your goals.
Precisely. Without this regular check-in, new goals can get lost. The weekly review ensures they stay front and center. It's the engine that keeps your progress on track.
It sounds like a crucial habit for anyone who wants to be more effective, more intentional, and happier with how they're spending their time.
It truly is. Many people feel overwhelmed by big, long-term goals. By breaking down reflection into manageable weekly chunks, it becomes incredibly accessible. You're making small, consistent course corrections.
And the cumulative effect over time must be enormous. Someone who consistently does this will likely be in a completely different place a year from now.
That's the power of consistency. Think of it like building a house. You build it brick by brick with a plan. The weekly review is your regular inspection of the construction site, ensuring everything is going according to blueprint.
So, to recap, the weekly review is a vital tool to combat living life on autopilot. It helps you step back, assess your past week, acknowledge successes, learn from challenges, and then intentionally plan for the week ahead. It's about moving from reaction to proaction.
Beautifully summarized. It's the foundation for intentional living and continuous improvement. In the coming episodes, we'll delve into exactly how to build this habit.
I'm really excited about that. It feels like a practical, actionable way to take control of our progress.
Next episode, Building Your Foundation, the Daily Journal's Power. Welcome back. Last time we covered the art of reflection. Now let's tackle the daily journal.
And that need for understanding really starts at a more granular level, doesn't it? If the weekly review is like looking at the whole landscape, then the daily practice is like examining each individual tree.
Exactly. And that's what we're diving into today, building the absolute bedrock of your reflection habit with the daily journal. Think of your journal as your personal, private space for capturing thoughts, feelings, and experiences as they happen. It's where the raw material for your big picture weekly review is gathered.
So, it's not just about writing down what you did, but really about cultivating that awareness we mentioned in the first episode.
Precisely. It's about becoming a keen observer of your own life. Now, when people hear journaling, they might picture a diary filled with "Dear Diary, I did this today." While that's a form of journaling, there are so many more powerful ways to use it. Let's explore a few.
I'd love that. Sometimes the idea of just starting feels overwhelming.
Totally understandable. One of the simplest, yet most effective methods is free writing. This is where you set a timer, say for 5 or 10 minutes, and you just write whatever comes to mind. Don't censor yourself. Don't worry about grammar or spelling. Just let the words flow. It's like clearing out your mental inbox.
So, you're not trying to construct a story or answer a specific question, just get thoughts out of your head and onto paper.
That's the beauty of it. You might find yourself writing about a conversation you had, a worry you're feeling, or even just a random observation. This practice helps to uncover those underlying thoughts and emotions that often get buried in the busyness of the day. It's about noticing what's on your mind without judgment.
That sounds like a great way to build that awareness muscle. What if someone needs a bit more structure?
That's where prompts come in. Think of journaling prompts as gentle nudges to explore specific areas. They can be as simple or as complex as you like. For instance, a basic prompt could be, "What was the most challenging part of my day, and how did I handle it?"
Okay, that's very direct. It immediately focuses you on a specific event and your response.
Right? And that kind of reflection is gold for your weekly review. You can see patterns and challenges, or notice if you're consistently struggling with similar things. Another prompt might be, "What am I grateful for today, no matter how small?" This shifts your focus to the positive, which is also vital for maintaining perspective.
Gratitude journaling is something I've heard a lot about. It really does seem to reframe your outlook.
Absolutely. It helps to anchor you in the present and appreciate what you have, rather than constantly focusing on what's missing. We can even get more specific by using prompts related to your goals. For example, if you have a project you're working on, a prompt might be, "What is one small step I took today that moves me closer to my goal?"
That's brilliant. It connects the daily practice directly to the progress you're tracking for your weekly review. It stops those small, incremental steps from getting lost in the shuffle.
Exactly. So, you're not just journaling, you're actively gathering data for your future self. You're building a record of your actions, your feelings, and your progress. And over time, this daily practice creates a rich tapestry of your experiences. It's like collecting puzzle pieces. The daily journal helps you gather those pieces.
And the weekly review is where you start to see the picture that those pieces create.
You got it. But what happens if you miss a day, or even a few days? Is the whole habit ruined?
That's a common fear, I think. The all or nothing mentality.
It's a major roadblock. The key is to remember that this is a habit, and habits aren't about perfection, they're about persistence. If you miss a day, simply pick up where you left off the next day. Don't beat yourself up about it. The goal is consistency over the long haul, not flawless execution every single day. Even a short entry is better than no entry.
So, even a sentence or two can be helpful.
Definitely. It's about creating the habit of reflection. Now, let's briefly touch on different journaling formats. Beyond just writing, some people find it helpful to use bullet points or even mind maps. You can also incorporate gratitude lists, to-do lists, or a section for ideas and insights.
It really sounds like there's no one size fits all approach.
Not at all. The best approach is the one that you'll actually stick with. Experiment with different methods: free writing, using prompts, creating lists. See what resonates with you. You might even find you prefer a digital journal on your phone or computer or a physical notebook. What matters most is the act of consistent, intentional reflection.
It's about intentionally pausing to connect with your inner world and your outer experiences.
Precisely. And by doing this daily, you're effectively preparing the ground for your weekly review. You're already in a more reflective mindset. You're capturing those fleeting thoughts and feelings that might otherwise vanish. This daily practice builds the foundation. It creates the habit of noticing, of engaging with your thoughts, and of gathering the insights that will later inform your bigger picture evaluation during your weekly review.
So, to recap for our listeners, the daily journal is your personal space for capturing thoughts, feelings, and experiences. We discussed free writing for uninhibited expression and prompts for focused reflection. Remember that consistency is key, and it's okay to miss a day, just pick it back up. The ultimate goal is to build the habit of intentional reflection, which directly prepares you for the weekly review.
Powerful stuff. It's about showing up for yourself day after day and building that rock solid foundation for lasting growth and awareness. Next episode, we'll take those daily insights and show you how to design your weekly command center, your actual weekly review process. Thanks for listening. Welcome back to the Reflection Habit. Today, we're moving to your weekly command center, designing your review.
Last time, we explored the incredible power of the daily journal. Today, we're evolving, moving from intimate daily reflections to the strategic command center of your week, the weekly review.
If the daily journal is about capturing the pulse of your everyday life, the weekly review is where you zoom out, analyze the patterns, and set your course. It's like leveling up your personal development game.
Think of it this way. Your daily journal entries are like individual brushstrokes. The weekly review is where you step back and see the entire painting taking shape. It's your chance to make sense of everything that happened and decide where you want to go next.
So, how do we design this command center? Where do we even start?
The first crucial step is scheduling. You need to block out time for your weekly review, just like you would for an important meeting. This isn't a quick 5-minute check-in. We're talking about carving out a dedicated chunk of time, ideally between 30 minutes to an hour, depending on how much you want to dive in.
When's the best time to schedule it? Sunday evenings to prepare for the week ahead? Friday afternoons to wrap things up and celebrate wins?
That's a great question, Alex, and the answer is, it's deeply personal. Some people prefer Sunday evenings to set intentions for the upcoming week. Others find Friday afternoons ideal, allowing them to reflect on what's just passed and disconnect from the work week with a sense of closure. Experiment with both and see what resonates with you. The key is consistency. Pick a time and stick to it.
Consistency is key. I like that. So, once it's scheduled, what about the space itself? Does it need to be a special place?
Ideally, yes. Creating a dedicated space can significantly enhance your focus and mindset. This doesn't mean you need a fancy office. It could be a quiet corner of your home, your favorite cafe with a notebook, or even a park bench. The most important thing is that it's a place where you can minimize distractions and really immerse yourself in the process. Think of it as your personal boardroom, a sanctuary for self-assessment and planning.
A sanctuary for self-assessment. I love that imagery. So, we have our time blocked out and we have our space. What are the essential elements that absolutely must be in our weekly review? What should we be looking at?
Building on our daily journaling, the first element is to review your progress on goals. Remember those big rocks you set for yourself? Look at your journal entries and see where you made progress, where you fell short, and why. This is where you connect the dots between your daily actions and your larger aspirations.
So it's about seeing if those daily brushstrokes are forming the picture we intended. What if we didn't make as much progress as we'd hoped?
That's perfectly normal, and that's the beauty of the review. It leads us to the next essential element: identifying challenges and obstacles. What got in your way this week? Were there unexpected distractions, internal resistance, or external roadblocks? Being honest about these challenges is the first step to overcoming them. Don't judge yourself, just observe and record.
It's like a detective looking for clues to what's slowing us down. What should be on our checklist?
We absolutely need to celebrate wins, no matter how small. This is crucial for motivation and positive reinforcement. Did you finally tackle that daunting task? Did you have a particularly productive conversation? Did you simply manage to get through a tough day? Acknowledge these achievements. This feeds your momentum and reminds you of your capabilities.
That's so important. It's easy to focus on what went wrong. So actively looking for the good things is a powerful counterbalance.
Precisely. And this leads us to the proactive part: planning for the upcoming week. Based on your review, what worked, what didn't, and what goals are still on track. What are your top priorities and actions for the next 7 days? This is where you translate your insights into actionable steps. Think of setting your big rocks for the week ahead.
So it's a cycle. Review the past, understand the present, and then plan for the future. It really is like a command center where you're assessing what's happening, making adjustments, and issuing clear directives for what's next.
Exactly. And to make this tangible, let's consider a simple structure. You could start by jotting down your key accomplishments from the week. Then, list any challenges encountered. Following that, reflect on lessons learned from both successes and setbacks. Finally, define your top 3 priorities for the coming week. This structure, a simple list of accomplishments, challenges, lessons, and priorities, provides a clear framework.
Accomplishments, challenges, lessons learned, and priorities. That's a fantastic, memorable framework. It breaks down what can feel like a huge task into manageable categories.
And remember, the goal isn't perfection. It's about creating a consistent practice that helps you gain clarity, stay aligned with your goals, and navigate your life with more intention. This weekly review, integrating insights from your daily journaling, becomes your compass and your map. It's your dedicated time to ensure you're not just busy, but you're busy with what truly matters.
So, to recap this episode, we've established that the weekly review is your personal command center for taking stock and steering your week. We emphasize the importance of scheduling dedicated time and creating a focused space. And we outline the essential elements: reviewing progress on goals, identifying challenges, celebrating wins, and planning for the upcoming week. We even gave you a simple structure to follow: accomplishments, challenges, lessons learned, and priorities.
It's about moving from reactive to proactive, from simply living your week to consciously designing it. This is how you build momentum and ensure your actions are consistently moving you towards your desired future.
And we've built upon the foundation of the daily journal, showing how these practices work together to create a powerful habit of reflection.
Next episode, we'll dive deeper into the crucial aspect of tracking your progress. We'll explore the metrics that truly matter when it comes to understanding your journey.
Thanks for listening. Welcome back. Last time, we dove deep into designing your weekly review. Today, we're shifting our focus to actively tracking your progress.
That's right, Alex. It's one thing to look back, but another to understand how you're moving forward. So, how do we go from reviewing to actively tracking progress?
It all comes down to identifying your metrics that matter. Think about it. In any pursuit, you need a way to measure success. You wouldn't train for a marathon without timing yourself, would you?
Definitely not. You'd want to know how long it took if you're getting faster. So, these metrics that matter are essentially personal key performance indicators, or KPIs.
Exactly. And the key is to define these early on, when you're setting your intentions. For example, if your intention is to improve your physical health, what does that look like in terms of measurable progress?
Okay, so for health, it might not just be, I want to be healthier. It could be things like, I want to exercise 3 times a week for at least 30 minutes, or I want to drink 8 glasses of water a day, or I want to consistently get 7 to 8 hours of sleep. This is how we see if we're hitting those intentions.
Perfect examples. Those are all quantifiable. They are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. For our health example, exercising 3 times a week is a metric. Drinking 8 glasses of water is a metric. Getting consistent sleep is another metric.
And the beauty of tracking these during our weekly review is that it gives us concrete data. Instead of a vague feeling of, I think I'm eating better, we can say, I met my water goal 5 out of 7 days this week. That's powerful feedback.
Absolutely. And this applies to every area of our lives. Let's consider career or professional development. What might be some metrics there?
Well, it could be completing a certain number of tasks related to a big project or dedicating a specific amount of time to learning a new skill. Maybe it's making a certain number of client calls or career connections.
Precisely. And for your career, tracking might involve noting down hours spent on professional development, the number of challenges you successfully navigated, or perhaps even positive feedback received. It's about capturing the actions and outcomes that align with your professional aspirations.
So, we've talked about health and career. What about other areas? Relationships, for instance? That seems a bit less quantifiable.
It can be, but we can still find meaningful metrics. For relationships, it might be the number of meaningful conversations you had with loved ones, the amount of quality time you spent, or even instances where you actively listened and offered support. It's about tracking the behaviors that strengthen your connections.
That makes sense. So, it's not always a number, but a conscious effort to record the actions that contribute to the desired outcome. Like, this week, I made a point to have at least 2 deep conversations with my partner and spend an hour playing with my kids without distractions.
Exactly. You're measuring the intentionality and the execution of your relationship goals. And what about personal growth or hobbies?
For personal growth, it could be reading a certain number of pages in a self-help book, practicing a musical instrument for a set duration, or even journaling for a specific amount of time each day. For hobbies, it's about the active engagement. If you're learning pottery, it's the hours you've spent at the wheel.
You're hitting it, Lisa. The core principle is to define what progress looks like for each area you're focusing on and then creating a way to record it. This is where your weekly review becomes your data gathering hub.
So, during the review, we're not just asking, how was my week? But also, did I hit my exercise goals? Or how many hours did I dedicate to learning that new software? Or did I have those meaningful conversations with my family? This moves us from a general feeling to specific facts.
That's the shift. It's about moving from a passive assessment to an active, data-informed evaluation. And this data isn't just for judgment, it's for insight. Seeing a pattern of consistent success in a metric can be incredibly motivating. Conversely, consistently missing a metric can signal a need for adjustment.
That's a crucial point, Alex. It's not about beating yourself up if you don't hit a target, but understanding why. Is the target unrealistic? Did external factors interfere? Do I need to change my approach? This objective data helps us answer those questions.
Precisely. These metrics are your early warning system. If you're consistently not hitting your sleep metric, that's a sign that something in your routine needs attention, and it can inform future intentions. It adds an objective layer to our self-assessment, helping us see ourselves more clearly.
It's like having a personal dashboard for your life. And the more we track these things consistently, the richer our understanding becomes. We start to see connections between our actions and our results, which makes future planning much more effective.
And this leads directly into our next steps. With this data, we can identify trends, celebrate genuine progress, and most importantly, make informed decisions about where to focus our energy moving forward. So, to recap, for this week's reflection, identify 1 to 3 key areas you want to track. Define a specific, measurable metric for each. And during your weekly review, diligently record your performance against those metrics. This objective data will be invaluable for guiding your future intentions and actions.
Tracking your progress isn't just about numbers. It's about building a clear picture of your journey and empowering yourself to steer it effectively.
Well said. Next episode, we'll be focusing on the positive side of this progress, celebrating those wins, big and small.
Thanks for listening.
Welcome back. Last time, we covered tracking your progress with the metrics that matter.
That's right, Alex. We spend so much time focusing on what we still need to do that we forget to pause and acknowledge how far we've come. It's like running a marathon and only looking at the finish line, never glancing back to see the miles you've already conquered.
Exactly. When you achieve something, your brain releases a little burst of dopamine, a feel-good chemical. Celebrating a win amplifies that feeling. It reinforces the positive behavior that led to the success.
So, by acknowledging a win, we're essentially telling our brains, this is good. Remember this. This is worth repeating. This is so important for motivation, isn't it?
Absolutely. If you're consistently working hard but never see your efforts acknowledged, burnout isn't far behind. But when you actively celebrate, you create positive feedback loops that keep you going.
And these wins don't have to be monumental, right? It's not just about closing a huge business deal. It's about recognizing the smaller steps too.
Precisely. Those smaller wins are often more crucial for maintaining consistent momentum. Let's connect this back to episode 4, where we talked about tracking your progress. Your weekly review is the perfect place to not only look at the numbers, but to find the successes within them.
So, if one of our metrics is tasks completed, and we managed to clear our to-do list for the week, that's a win. Even if it was a challenging week, the fact that we pushed through and got it done is something to acknowledge.
Yes. Or perhaps you set out to read for 30 minutes each day, and you hit that goal 5 out of 7 days. That's a win. It's easy to focus on the 2 days you missed, but the celebration comes from acknowledging the 5 days you succeeded. This builds confidence and makes you more likely to hit that goal next week.
Okay, so how do we actually celebrate these wins in our weekly review? It feels a bit abstract.
It doesn't need to be fancy. The key is intentionality. You can simply dedicate a section in your weekly review to wins of the week. Write down each achievement, no matter how small. Seeing it on paper gives it a tangible presence.
So, I could have a bullet point that says, successfully navigated a difficult conversation with a colleague, or taught myself a new skill for an hour.
Exactly. And then, take it a step further. How can you make that acknowledgement more meaningful? For a small win, a mental pat on the back might suffice. But for something slightly bigger, perhaps you allow yourself a few extra minutes of downtime, or treat yourself to a nice cup of coffee.
So it's about creating a small reward system. This makes sense. It's like when you train a pet, you give them a treat when they do something good. We're training ourselves to recognize and appreciate our efforts.
That's a great analogy. And the variety of celebrations is endless. It could be listening to your favorite song, spending a little extra time on a hobby, or even just sharing your success with a supportive friend or family member. The act of sharing can itself be a form of celebration.
I can see how this combats that feeling of, is this even worth it? When you have concrete examples of your successes and you've consciously acknowledged them, it reframes your perspective.
Absolutely. It's about shifting your focus from the deficit to the abundance. When you're reviewing your week, you're not just identifying what went wrong. You're actively seeking out the good, the progress, and the accomplishments. This mental reframing is incredibly powerful for maintaining a positive outlook and resilience.
And it makes the whole process of reviewing feel less like a chore and more like an empowering ritual. It's a moment to recognize your own agency and impact.
Exactly. For those of you who are tracking detailed data, as we discussed in episode 4, look for the trends that show improvement. Did your sales increase? Celebrate it. Did you manage to stick to your exercise routine for 3 consecutive days? That's progress worth acknowledging. Don't just record the data. Find the victories within.
You're saying we should look at our progress tracking not just as an accounting of effort, but as a report card of our achievements.
Precisely. It's a report card filled with successes, even if some areas are still a work in progress. This positive reinforcement is crucial for long-term habit formation. When you feel good about your progress, you're more likely to continue the behaviors that lead to those positive feelings.
So, to recap for our listeners, celebrating wins isn't just a feel-good activity, it's a psychological necessity for motivation and preventing burnout. In your weekly review, dedicate a specific section to acknowledging your accomplishments, no matter how small.
And personalize your celebrations. Find small, meaningful ways to reward yourself for your efforts. This reinforces positive behaviors and shifts your mindset from what's lacking to what you've achieved, turning your progress tracking into an empowering affirmation of your capabilities.
It's about giving yourself credit where credit is due. This makes the whole reflection habit stick because it's not just about hard work, it's about recognizing the fruits of that hard work.
Well said, Lisa. This practice of celebrating wins is a cornerstone of a truly effective reflection habit. It nourishes your motivation and builds a stronger foundation for continued growth.
And it makes the entire journey of self-improvement feel a lot more rewarding.
Indeed. Next episode, we'll talk about how to navigate those inevitable bumps in the road with course correction and adjustments. Welcome back. Last time, we explored celebrating your wins. Today, we're tackling course correction.
Yes, Alex, because not every week goes to plan. Things go wrong, and we don't always hit our targets. It's easy to feel discouraged.
Absolutely, Lisa. But our weekly review gives us a framework to understand what went wrong and what to do about it. It's about turning setbacks into stepping stones.
So, when we see a goal wasn't met, what's the first step to course correction? How do we analyze it without dwelling on the negative?
Approach it with curiosity, not judgment. Think of yourself as a detective. The first step is objective observation. What actually happened?
So, instead of I'm terrible at time management, it's this task took 3 hours when I budgeted 2. Why?
Exactly. You're gathering facts. Were there unforeseen distractions? Did the scope expand? Were your initial estimates off? Just state the facts.
Okay, we've observed the setback objectively. What's the next step?
The next crucial step is identifying the lessons learned. Every setback holds information that can help you improve. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this?
This sounds like reframing. Instead of seeing a missed deadline as a failure, we're looking for insight.
Precisely. If a project took longer than anticipated, the lesson learned might be that you underestimate complexity or you need more buffer time. Or maybe a tool wasn't efficient.
And these lessons are highly specific to the situation.
Not all. The lessons are personal to your workflow. Once you've identified these lessons, the final, vital step is making adjustments for the following week. This is where the review fuels forward momentum.
This is where we translate learning into action. If my lesson was about underestimating task complexity, what adjustment would I make?
You might decide to break down similar tasks into smaller subtasks next week. You could add a note to allocate more time for those activities. It's about proactively building in safeguards.
So if I got easily distracted by emails, the adjustment might be to schedule specific times for checking them.
That's a perfect example, Lisa. You're not just identifying the problem, you're implementing a solution. Think of it like this. Noticing a flat tire is observing the setback. Understanding why is identifying the lesson. Deciding to check tire pressure regularly and avoid rough patches is making the adjustment.
I like that analogy. It makes the process feel more proactive. We're preventing problems.
Exactly. This cycle of observe, learn, adjust is fundamental to continuous improvement. It separates those stuck in a loop from those who steadily progress. Remember the daily journal from episode 2? It's great for capturing initial observations and thoughts. Then, in your weekly review, you flesh them out and decide on adjustments.
That makes perfect sense. The daily observations feed into the weekly analysis, which informs the adjustments. It creates a clear feedback loop. A setback isn't an endpoint, it's a signal to recalibrate.
A signal to recalibrate. I love that. And let's circle back to episode 5, celebrating wins. You can even celebrate the success of your course correction. Acknowledging that you faced a challenge, learned from it, and made a change is a win. It reinforces positive growth.
That's a great point. It builds confidence in our ability to handle difficulties. We learn that setbacks don't have to derail us, they can make us stronger.
They absolutely can. Now let's summarize. For course correction during your weekly review, there are 3 key steps. First, objectively observe what happened, focusing on facts. Second, identify the lessons learned. What insights can you gain? Third, make concrete, actionable adjustments for the upcoming week based on those lessons.
Observe, learn, and adjust. It's a straightforward but powerful approach to turning challenges into opportunities for growth. It embodies the idea that our reflection habit is about continuous improvement.
Indeed, it is. And this ability to navigate setbacks isn't just about professional growth. It's about building resilience in all areas of life. It's about becoming more adaptable and effective.
Well, Alex, this has been incredibly practical. We've given our listeners clear tools for when things don't go as planned.
I believe so too, Lisa. And for our next episode, we're going to dive into identifying bottlenecks, those invisible barriers that can prevent us from moving forward.
Ooh, that sounds important. Identifying bottlenecks, unblocking your path to growth. I'm looking forward to that.
Thanks for listening. Welcome back. Last time, we talked about how to course correct when things aren't going as planned. Today, we're digging deeper into something that often causes us to steer off course in the first place: bottlenecks.
Bottlenecks. Those frustrating points that slow us down, or even stop us in our tracks. They're like a traffic jam on our path to progress.
Exactly. And the beauty of our weekly review is that it's the perfect place to not just notice these jams, but to really understand what's causing them. Identifying bottlenecks is all about uncovering those recurring, persistent challenges that keep popping up, no matter how many times you try to fix them.
So, it's not just a one-off issue, but a pattern of difficulty?
Precisely. Think of it this way. You fix a problem, and a week later, you're facing the same kind of roadblock. That's a bottleneck. Our weekly review gives us the data, the observations from the past week to spot these patterns. We're looking at our goals, our tasks, and how we're feeling about them. Are there certain types of tasks that always get delayed? Are there specific projects that constantly feel overwhelming? Are you consistently feeling drained after a particular activity? These are all clues.
That makes sense. So, the first step is noticing the recurring theme. What's next? How do we move from noticing to actually unblocking them?
The next crucial step is root cause analysis. This is where we go beyond the surface problem and ask why multiple times, just like we would when talking to a child, until we get to the core issue. Let's say you notice you're always struggling to finish your reports on time. That's the bottleneck.
Okay, struggling to finish reports on time. Why?
Why? Perhaps because you underestimate how long they'll take. Okay, Why do you underestimate? Maybe you're not gathering all the necessary data before you start. Why aren't you gathering all the data? Perhaps you don't have a clear list of what data you need for each report type. And why don't you have a clear list? Maybe you've never taken the time to define the exact requirements for each report type. See how we're digging deeper?
Yes, it's like peeling back layers of an onion. The initial problem, not finishing reports, is just the outer layer. The real issue might be a lack of clear processes or definitions.
Exactly. And by getting to that deeper cause, we can implement a more effective solution. Instead of just telling ourselves to work faster on reports, which is ineffective, we can create a checklist of required data for each report type and build that data gathering into our workflow before starting the report writing. This proactive approach is key to true unblocking.
So, in our weekly review, we'd be looking for these patterns. Let's say I'm consistently feeling burnout. That's my bottleneck. When I dig deeper with the why questions, I might find out it's because I'm saying yes to too many requests from colleagues and I'm not scheduling enough downtime for myself.
That's a perfect example. Your weekly review isn't just about ticking off tasks. It's about reflecting on your energy levels, your stress points, and the overall sustainability of your efforts. You note down, felt burnout by Thursday. Then, in your analysis, why burnout? Possible answers: took on 3 extra tasks, didn't schedule lunch breaks, worked late every night. And then, the deeper why: struggled to say no to requests, prioritized urgent over important when it came to self-care.
And the solution then isn't just try not to get burnout, but to practice saying no or to consciously block out time for breaks and rest as if they were important appointments.
Absolutely. And the beauty of using the weekly review is that you can then track the effectiveness of your implemented solutions. The following week, you ask, did I feel burnout? Did I manage to say no to extra requests? Did I take my scheduled breaks? This continuous feedback loop is what makes the reflection habit so powerful. It's not just about identifying problems. It's about actively solving them and ensuring the solutions stick.
I also want to highlight that sometimes bottlenecks aren't about our personal actions, but about external factors. For instance, a vital piece of information you need is always delayed by another department.
That's a great point, Lisa. And even in those situations, our reflection can help. While we might not be able to directly control the other department, we can analyze the impact of that delay. How much time did it cost us? Were there alternative solutions we could have pursued in the meantime? Can we collaboratively work with that department to establish better communication protocols within our weekly review discussions? We can identify patterns in those external delays too, and perhaps find ways to mitigate their impact on our own workflow.
So, identifying bottlenecks involves spotting recurring obstacles, using the why technique for root cause analysis, and then intentionally planning and implementing solutions.
That's a fantastic summary, Lisa. Remember those key steps. 1. Observe recurring patterns of difficulty in your weekly review. 2. Ask why repeatedly to uncover the root cause. 3. Brainstorm and implement targeted solutions. And 4. Use the following week's review to assess the effectiveness of your actions. This methodical approach turns frustrating roadblocks into opportunities for growth.
It really does. It shifts our perspective from feeling stuck to actively finding ways forward. These bottlenecks, once identified and addressed, can significantly unblock our path to achieving our goals.
Indeed, by consistently identifying and unblocking these persistent challenges, we create a smoother, more efficient path towards our aspirations. It's about continuous improvement, one identified bottleneck at a time.
And that's a powerful takeaway for this episode.
Next episode, we'll explore the fundamental question that underpins all our actions: the power of the why, aligning our efforts with our core values. Welcome back. Last time, We explored identifying and resolving bottlenecks. Now, let's tackle the fundamental why behind your actions.
That's right, Alex. If clearing the path was about efficiency, today is about ensuring we're on the right path. We're connecting our actions, reviews, and efforts to our deepest values and long-term vision.
Absolutely. Efficiency without meaning can feel hollow. The power of the why provides lasting motivation.
So, how do we find this why? It sounds a bit abstract.
It's connected to your core values, the principles guiding you, what you deeply care about. These could be authenticity, connection, growth, creativity, or contribution.
And our weekly review is the perfect place to link our actions to these values. Instead of just asking, did I do the task? We can ask, did what I do this week move me closer to living my values?
Exactly. If learning and growth is a core value, your review isn't just ticking boxes. Ask, did I learn something new? Did I challenge myself? Did I grow? This reframes success.
That makes sense. If my value is connection and I spent the week working in isolation, my review might highlight that disconnect, even with project productivity.
Precisely. The goal is alignment, not abandoning tasks. Ask, how can I approach this task to still honor my values? The task might be a means to an end, where you might find a more values-aligned way to complete it.
That's a great reframing. It's about ensuring your overall direction and significant efforts serve what truly matters.
And this connects to your long-term vision. Your values are the compass, your vision, the destination. Knowing your aspirational future helps you see how current actions, guided by values, contribute to the bigger picture.
So, in our weekly review, we're looking backward at what happened and forward, ensuring our present actions serve that future vision and our core principles.
That's the essence. This makes your reflection process incredibly enriching, shifting focus from productivity to purpose, living a life reflecting who you are and aspire to be.
This is truly the heart of defining what success looks like for you. Success is reaching the right target for you.
Absolutely. This alignment builds genuine motivation. When your efforts serve something deeply meaningful, it's easier to push through challenges. It becomes a want, not just a should.
So, to recap, finding your why means connecting your actions to your core values and long-term vision. In your weekly review, ask, does what I did this week move me closer to living my values and vision? If not, how can I adjust?
And remember, this is about understanding and conscious choices, not judgment. This deeper reflection adds profound meaning and purpose, transforming your habit from a chore into a powerful tool for living intentionally.
It makes all the effort feel worthwhile because you know why you're putting in that effort. It's about building a life that resonates with your deepest self.
It's about ensuring the path and progress you make lead to a place that genuinely matters to you. This exploration of your why is crucial for making your reflection habit a pathway to a meaningful and fulfilling existence.
Next episode, Monthly Milestones, Stepping Up Your Review Game.
Welcome back to the Reflection Habit. Last time, we honed our weekly review skills, digging into progress and navigating setbacks. Today, we're officially stepping up our game. We're moving from the weekly grind to the bigger picture, monthly milestones.
That's right, Alex. We've spent the past several episodes mastering the art of the weekly review, breaking down our days, celebrating wins, and course correcting when needed. It's like having a sharp, detailed map of our immediate journey.
Exactly, Lisa. And now it's time to zoom out. Think of your weekly reviews as looking at individual trees, examining their leaves, their branches, their health. Your monthly review is where you step back and see the whole forest. You start to notice the patterns, the overall growth, and perhaps even the subtle changes in the landscape that you might miss when you're focused on just one tree.
I love that analogy. So, how do we formally transition from these detailed weekly check ins to a more consolidated monthly perspective? What does a monthly milestone review actually look like?
Great question. The core principle is aggregation, but it's more than just stacking up 4 weeks of notes. It's about synthesis. Remember how we talked about identifying key metrics and progress indicators in your weekly review? Your monthly review is where you'll look at those metrics over a longer period. Are they consistently moving in the right direction? Are there any trends emerging?
So, instead of just seeing completed 3 tasks this week, I'd be looking at completed 12 tasks this month and then asking, okay, what did those tasks contribute to?
Precisely. You're looking for the bigger story those weekly achievements tell. Did those 12 tasks move you closer to a specific larger goal you set for the month? This is where we connect your day-to-day actions to your monthly intentions. Remember when we discussed aligning actions with values in episode 8? Now, we're applying that on a monthly scale.
And this monthly framework helps us identify those monthly milestones you mentioned in the title. What are those in essence?
Monthly milestones are significant markers of progress toward your larger goals. They're the achievements that signify you're not just busy, but you're actually moving forward in a meaningful way. Think of them as checkpoints on a longer road trip. You need those checkpoints to know you're on the right path and making good time. Without them, you might just keep driving without knowing if you're getting closer to your destination or driving in circles.
That makes perfect sense to me. So, after a month of weekly reviews, I'd gather all my notes, my key achievements, maybe any challenges I noted. Then, in my monthly review, I'd consolidate these. What are the key questions I should be asking myself during this monthly synthesis?
You'd start by reviewing your monthly goals. Did you set specific, measurable goals for the month? If so, how did you perform against them? Were they realistic? Did they need adjustment along the way? This is where the course correction we discussed in episode 6 becomes even more critical, but on a wider time scale.
And if my monthly goals weren't clear, or if I missed them, this is the perfect time to figure out why and set better ones for the next month.
Exactly. You're also looking for broader themes. Are there recurring challenges that show up every week? Perhaps something specific you're struggling with? This is the time to identify those deeper bottlenecks we talked about in episode 7, but with a month's worth of data to support your observations. For instance, if you consistently underestimate how long a certain type of task will take, that's a bottleneck you can now address with a month's worth of evidence.
And by consolidating the weekly wins, I can also see that maybe even if I didn't hit a huge monthly milestone, the consistent small wins actually add up significantly. It prevents discouragement.
Absolutely. Celebrating wins doesn't stop at the weekly level. Your monthly review is a fantastic opportunity to acknowledge larger achievements and progress. This reinforces the positive behaviors and keeps your motivation high. Think of it as giving yourself a bigger pat on the back for completing a significant chunk of work. This connects back to the psychology of acknowledgement we explored in episode 5.
So, to recap, my monthly review involves looking at my monthly goals, synthesizing my weekly progress, identifying recurring themes and bottlenecks with a month's worth of data, and celebrating those larger milestones. It's really about building on the daily and weekly habits we've established and projecting that forward.
You've got it. It's a natural escalation. The weekly review gives you the granular detail, the fine-tuning. The monthly review gives you the strategic overview, the directional guidance. It's about ensuring your day-to-day actions are consistently serving your larger, month-long objectives. This practice helps you maintain momentum and fosters a powerful sense of accomplishment over time.
It sounds like an essential step for anyone who wants to go beyond just managing their time and actually start achieving significant progress in their endeavors. It brings a new level of intentionality.
It truly does. By dedicating time each month to this higher level reflection, you gain clarity, make more informed decisions, and ensure you're always moving in a direction that truly matters to you. It's about using the insights from your weekly reviews to sculpt your monthly journey.
So, for anyone listening who has been diligently doing their weekly reviews, it's time to gather those insights and look at the month as a whole. What a powerful way to track progress.
Indeed. And just as we're stepping up to monthly reviews, the journey of reflection continues to unfold. Next time, we'll be diving even deeper with our quarterly reassessments and strategic planning. Next episode, Quarterly Deep Dive, Strategic Planning and Reassessment. Welcome back to the Reflection Habit. Now, let's dive into strategic planning.
Think of it like this, Alex. Weekly reviews are like checking the map for the next few miles. Monthly reviews are like looking at the next town on the horizon. Quarterly, though, that's when you're pulling out the atlas, looking at the whole continent, and deciding if you want to change your route entirely.
Exactly. It's about getting out of the weeds of daily tasks and weekly progress and focusing on the bigger picture. Quarterly reviews are where you assess if your major goals are still aligned with your values and where you identify opportunities for significant shifts.
So, this isn't just about checking off tasks. It's about asking, are we still heading in the right direction? Are the big goals we set 6 months ago still the right ones for us, considering everything that's happened?
Precisely. It's a more strategic and less tactical review. You're not just looking at what you accomplished, but why it matters and if it's leading you where you truly want to go. So, how do we actually do a quarterly deep dive?
Great question. First, you need dedicated time. This isn't something to squeeze in between meetings. Block out a significant chunk of time, maybe half a day, or even a full day, depending on your scope. And just like with our weekly and monthly reviews, preparation is key.
What kind of preparation are we talking about for a quarterly review?
Start by gathering all your reflections from the past 3 months. That means your weekly review notes, your monthly summaries, any major project documents, and even just your general thoughts and feelings about the period. It's about creating a comprehensive snapshot of the last quarter.
So, you're looking at the raw data from your earlier reflections. What's the first big question you ask yourself during this quarterly deep dive?
The first critical step is reassessing your major goals. Remember those big aspirations you set at the beginning of the year, or perhaps at the start of this quarter. Now is the time to look at them critically. Are they still relevant? Are they still exciting? Have your priorities shifted? This is where you might realize a goal you were passionate about 6 months ago no longer resonates. That's okay. It's better to identify that now and pivot than to keep pushing towards something that doesn't serve you anymore.
And how do you assess if a goal is still relevant? What are the markers?
Think about your core values, which we touched on in episode 8. Does this goal still align with what's fundamentally important to you? Also, consider your current life circumstances and your long-term vision. Does it fit into the bigger picture you're painting for yourself? Another way to frame it is by asking, if I achieve this goal, will it genuinely move me closer to the life I want? Or is it more of a should than a want?
That's a powerful distinction. So, after reassessing goals, what's next in this strategic planning phase?
This is where we get into the actual planning. For each goal that remains relevant, or for any new goals you've identified, you need to break it down into actionable steps for the next quarter.
So, if my goal is to learn a new skill, my quarterly plan might include specific courses to take, practice hours, or projects to complete in the next 3 months.
Exactly. You're creating a roadmap for the upcoming quarter. This involves setting new, smaller milestones that will lead you toward your larger quarterly objectives. This is also a good time to identify any potential obstacles or challenges that might arise and start thinking about how you'll address them. Think of it as risk assessment for your goals. What could go wrong, and what's your backup plan?
This sounds like it requires a lot of honest self-reflection.
It absolutely does. And that brings us to another crucial element of the quarterly deep dive, identifying opportunities for significant shifts. Sometimes, progress isn't just about tweaking your existing plan. It's about making a bold move.
A significant shift. Can you give us an example?
Certainly.
Imagine your business has been steadily growing, but you've noticed a recurring pattern where a particular niche market is underserved by your current offerings. A quarterly deep dive could be the catalyst for deciding to pivot your offerings to focus more heavily on that niche, which could lead to exponential growth. Or, on a personal level, you might realize that your current commuting situation is draining your energy and impacting your productivity. A quarterly reassessment might lead you to the decision to explore remote work options or even consider a job change, representing a significant shift in your daily life.
So, it's about recognizing these pivotal moments where a small adjustment isn't enough. You need to consider a more substantial change in direction or strategy.
Precisely.
This level of review complements our weekly and monthly reflections beautifully. Weekly keeps you on track day to day. Monthly helps you manage the immediate future. Quarterly allows you to steer the ship. It's about asking, are we on the right ocean?
I love that analogy, Lisa. We're not just looking at the waves around us, but the entire ocean and our destination. We're also identifying potential storms and charting a course to avoid them or navigate them effectively.
And importantly, during this quarterly deep dive, you're also looking for quick wins. What small, impactful changes can you implement in the next quarter that will yield immediate positive results? These can be powerful motivators.
It's about striking a balance between long-term strategy and short-term tactical wins to keep momentum high. We've covered how to reassess your major goals, strategize for the coming quarter by breaking down those goals into actionable steps and identifying potential obstacles, and being open to identifying opportunities for significant shifts.
And don't forget to find those quick wins to maintain momentum throughout the next 3 months. This quarterly deep dive is a crucial step in your reflection habit journey. It ensures you're not just busy, but you're busy with purpose, heading towards a future you genuinely desire.
It's about taking control of your direction, not just reacting to circumstances.
Thanks for listening.
Last time, we took a strategic quarterly deep dive. Now let's tackle the annual life audit.
An annual audit, Alex? That sounds like a big undertaking. We've been doing daily, weekly, monthly, and quarterly reviews. What makes the annual one different?
Think of it like this. The daily journal is like looking at your feet. The weekly review is like looking at the path ahead. Monthly and quarterly reviews give you a view of the near landscape. The annual audit is like climbing to the highest point to see the entire journey you've taken over the past year and to appreciate the vast horizons ahead. It's about synthesizing everything from the entire year.
Okay, I'm picturing that. So it's not just about looking at individual goals, but how they all fit together over 12 months. How do we even begin to approach something so comprehensive?
We start by gathering all the insights from our previous reviews. Pull out your quarterly reports, your monthly summaries, even key takeaways from your weekly reviews. The goal is to identify overarching themes, patterns, and significant shifts that have occurred throughout the year. Did you consistently feel energized by certain activities? Were there recurring challenges that kept popping up?
So, we're looking for trends. For example, if my quarterly reviews all mention feeling stressed about personal projects, the annual audit would highlight that as a persistent theme in my year.
Exactly. And then we can ask deeper questions. Why was that a theme? Or the underlying causes? This is where the power of why becomes incredibly important. Your annual audit is the ultimate test of whether your actions throughout the year have truly aligned with your core values.
That makes sense. So, it's not just about accomplishments, but about the quality of our experience and our growth. What are the key areas we should be examining in this broad annual review?
We want to touch upon all the major pillars of our lives. Think about your career or main vocation, your personal relationships, family, friends, romantic partners, your health and well-being, your financial situation, your personal development, your hobbies and passions, and your contribution to the world, if that's something you focus on.
That's quite a list. It feels holistic. How do we assess each area without getting overwhelmed?
We can revisit the metrics that matter, but on a macro level. For each life area, ask yourself, what were my big intentions for this area at the beginning of the year? How did the year unfold in practice? What were the significant wins? And what were the areas where I fell short of my intentions? It's about honest assessment, not judgment.
Honest assessment. I like that. So, after reviewing all the areas, what's the outcome? We've gathered data, identified themes, what's next?
The next step is synthesis. This is where you look at the big picture. You're looking for patterns across different life areas. For instance, if a career challenge impacted your health and relationships, you're seeing the interconnectedness of your life. This holistic view is something you can only get with an annual perspective. It's like seeing the entire forest instead of just the individual trees.
And this understanding then informs our intentions for the year ahead, right?
Precisely. The annual audit isn't just a retrospective. It's a crucial launching pad for the future. Based on your comprehensive review, what are your most important intentions for the year ahead? What are the overarching goals you want to set? What are the key values you want to ensure guide your decisions? You're not just setting new resolutions. You're recalibrating your entire compass.
It's about setting intentions grounded in a full year of lived experience. And I imagine this process also helps us identify those deep-seated bottlenecks that we might have been addressing piecemeal throughout the year, but now we see the root cause more clearly.
Absolutely. A persistent bottleneck in one area might be a symptom of an issue in another. The annual audit is perfect for uncovering those foundational problems. For example, maybe you consistently struggle to find time for exercise. Looking at your entire year, you might realize it's not a time management issue, but a deeper conflict with your stated value of prioritizing your health. Perhaps you're unconsciously telling yourself other things are more important.
That's a powerful insight. So, we're not just tweaking the surface. We're potentially making fundamental shifts based on a year's worth of data and reflection.
Indeed. And remember those creative reflection techniques? Some of them, like journaling about hypothetical future selves or creating a vision board for the year ahead, are perfectly suited for this annual deep dive. They help unlock creativity and move beyond simple quantitative analysis.
So, to quickly summarize for our listeners, the annual life audit is our yearly checkpoint to synthesize insights from all our reflection cycles, daily, weekly, monthly, and quarterly. We examine key life areas, identify overarching themes and patterns, and honestly assess our progress against our intentions and values. This comprehensive review isn't just about looking back, it's about illuminating the path forward, setting meaningful intentions, and making adjustments for the year ahead.
That captures it perfectly, Lisa. It's about gaining the wisdom of a full year's journey to intentionally design the next. It's the ultimate perspective shift in our reflection habit.
Thank you, Alex.
This has been incredibly insightful.
You're welcome. Next episode, we'll discuss how to keep this momentum going throughout the year, focusing on sustaining the reflection habit. Welcome back. Last time, we took a deep dive into our annual life audit. Today, we're focusing on making that reflection stick for the long haul.
It's easy to get fired up initially, but life can interrupt our processes. How do we build this into our lives so it becomes more automatic?
Exactly. This connects back to our earlier episodes. Remember in episode 1, we discussed why we need a weekly review? That daily practice from episode 2 is a secret weapon for sustaining momentum.
So the daily habit acts as a constant reminder, feeding into the weekly review?
Precisely. The daily journal is your continuous stream of input. The weekly review processes that data. If you're not consistently feeding the stream, processing becomes harder.
So, consistent daily input is key. What else can we do when motivation fades?
Absolutely. Understanding the habit loop, a cue, a routine, and a reward. For reflection, the cue triggers you. This could be a specific time, location, or reminder.
Okay, so my cue might be my morning coffee or a Sunday evening alert.
Perfect. The routine is the actual act of reflection, journaling, looking at metrics, planning. And the crucial third part is the reward. This makes the habit feel worthwhile.
Ah, the reward. What's a good reward for reflection? It's not always like a treat.
True, and we need to be intentional. The reward can be an internal feeling of accomplishment or clarity. After your review, savor the feeling of having a plan, or allow yourself a small pleasure after you complete it.
So, the reward reinforces the positive association. It says, doing this leads to a good feeling or a deserved break.
Exactly, and we need to make the reward immediate. Think about episode 5, celebrating wins. We can use that same principle. Maybe the reward is the mental clarity of having a plan.
I like that. Focusing on the intrinsic rewards. What about when we hit obstacles, like feeling overwhelmed?
Obstacles are normal. Don't let a missed session derail you. If you miss a daily entry, start again tomorrow. If you miss a weekly review, do a condensed version. The goal is progress, not perfection.
So, it's about adapting and being flexible rather than quitting.
Precisely. Another strategy is to habit stack. Attach your new habit to an existing one. After I brush my teeth, I will journal for 5 minutes.
That's a great practical tip. It leverages an established behavior. It sounds like we're tying together all the elements we've discussed. The why from episode 1, the daily habit from episode 2, the structured review design from episode 3, and now, how to make it a sustainable, repeatable habit loop.
You've hit the nail on the head, Lisa. It's a continuous cycle. Your daily practice fuels your weekly review. Rewards reinforce the loop, and recognizing obstacles helps you stay consistent. The power of reflection is in the cumulative impact over time.
So, to recap, sustain momentum with a clear cue, a consistent routine, and an immediate reward. Don't aim for perfection, aim for consistency and adaptability. Leverage existing habits through habit stacking. This creates a powerful engine for ongoing personal growth.
It's about making reflection an integral, active part of your life, not just another item on a to-do list. It becomes your compass. Next episode, Beyond the Spreadsheet, Creative Reflection Techniques. Welcome back. Last time, we discussed sustaining momentum with the habit loop of reflection. Today, we're exploring creative ways to reflect.
That's right, Alex. Journals and spreadsheets are great, but different approaches can spark new insights and make the process more engaging.
Exactly. If you only use numbers, you might miss emotional nuances or intuitive feelings. Creative techniques help you tap into different parts of your brain.
So, what are some creative reflection techniques?
One favorite is visual journaling. Instead of words, draw, doodle, collage, or use photos. Sketch a timeline and add symbols or colors. It can reveal patterns and feelings you wouldn't write.
A picture really is worth 1,000 words. A storm cloud drawing instantly shows a bad day better than writing it.
Precisely. Stick figures are fine. The goal is expression, not art. Another is mind mapping. Start with a central idea, then branch out with related thoughts and insights.
Mind mapping. That's a visual brainstorm, right? Main topic in the middle, lines to associated ideas.
That's it. It helps you see how different pieces of information connect. Mapping a project might reveal how a book insight offers a solution. It uncovers hidden links.
And the act of creating the map is important too?
Absolutely. Drawing those connections, actively thinking about what relates is illuminating. It's an active form of reflection. Now, using your voice. Voice memos are underutilized.
Voice memos? Recording yourself talking?
Exactly. Record thoughts, feelings, or a week summary. It's more natural for some. You can speak freely. Listening back might reveal your tone changes when discussing successes or struggles, adding an emotional layer.
That's a great idea. A personal audio diary. No worrying about spelling or grammar, just getting thoughts out.
Right. And combine them. A visual journal with a voice memo explaining it. Or mind map first, then use voice memos to elaborate.
Visual journaling, mind mapping, voice memos. Any other creative methods?
Certainly. Photography as a reflective tool. Take one photo daily representing gratitude, a challenge, or a learning experience. Review your photos to see the story they tell. It captures the essence of experiences.
I love that. It forces you to look for and appreciate those moments. What if someone has limited time?
That's where micro-reflections come in. Brief, intentional pauses. Set a reminder. What's one thing I learned today, or what went well this hour? Answer with a quick note, a word, or mental acknowledgement.
Integrating reflection into the flow, not a separate task.
Precisely. Gratitude listing is a form of micro-reflection. Each day, list 3 things you're grateful for. It boosts happiness and well-being. It shifts focus to the positive.
We touched on gratitude earlier. Small, consistent actions are powerful.
They are. Themed reflections are another option. Instead of a general review, choose a theme for the week like creativity or collaboration and focus your reflection on that.
That adds a different lens. It's like setting an intention for your reflection.
Exactly. And then there are playful methods. Create a wins collage with images of achievements. Or write a letter to your future self about goals and hopes and revisit it later.
These methods sound more engaging than filling out a form. They tap into different expressions and make insights feel more personal.
That's the beauty of it. Varying techniques keeps the process fresh. You're not just analyzing data, you're engaging with your life and growth dynamically. Remember, reflection helps you understand yourself, learn, and guide actions. These creative techniques are tools to achieve that.
So, to recap, visual journaling for emotions, mind mapping for connections, voice memos for spontaneity, photography for moments, micro-reflections for daily insights, themed reflections for focus, and playful methods like collages and future self letters. Find what resonates and keeps the habit exciting.
You've got it. These creative approaches ensure reflection isn't a chore, but a rewarding journey of self-discovery. Next episode, we'll discuss the lifelong journey of growth with the reflection habit. Let's wrap up our series today with the reflection habit itself.
And what a journey it's been, Alex. We've covered so much, from the simple act of a daily journal to the powerful insights gained from annual life audits. It feels like we've built a whole system brick by brick.
Exactly, Lisa. And that's the essence of the reflection habit. It's not a one-time fix or a complicated system you deploy once. It's a way of being a consistent practice that compounds over time. Think of it like tending a garden. You don't just plant the seeds and walk away. You water, you weed, you prune. And over time, that care yields beautiful, lasting results.
That's a great analogy. We started with the daily journal. Just a few minutes a day to jot down thoughts, feelings, and key events. It's the foundation, the bedrock, of understanding your immediate experience.
Absolutely. That daily bedrock then feeds into your weekly review. This is where you step back, look at the week that was, and start to connect the dots. You're not just recording, you're analyzing. You identify what went well, what didn't, and crucially, what you learned.
And we really emphasize designing that weekly review to be effective, right? Making it your personal command center for understanding your progress. It's about tracking your progress with the metrics that matter to you, not just what society dictates.
Precisely. And woven into that is the psychology of accomplishment. By celebrating your wins, no matter how small, you reinforce positive behavior and build momentum. It's like giving yourself a pat on the back for showing up, and that encouragement is powerful.
Then we moved into the more dynamic aspects, navigating setbacks and adjustments. Life isn't always smooth sailing. We learned how to view challenges not as failures, but as opportunities for course correction. Identifying those bottlenecks that are holding you back is key here.
And that brings us to the deeper currents, aligning your actions with your values. This is where we asked, what's your why? Knowing your core values provides a compass, ensuring your daily actions and weekly reviews are steering you in the direction you truly want to go.
From there, we scaled up. We introduced the monthly milestones and then the quarterly deep dive. These longer horizons allow for more strategic thinking, for reassessment of goals, and for bigger picture planning. It's like zooming out from a single tree to see the whole forest.
And of course, the grand finale of our structure reflections is the annual life audit. This is the ultimate 30,000-foot view. It's a comprehensive look at your life across all domains, a chance to recalibrate your entire trajectory.
But the series isn't just about doing these reviews. It's about sustaining momentum. We talked about the habit loop, the cue, the routine, the reward, and how to make reflection an automatic, ingrained part of your life. It's not about willpower, it's about building a system that supports the habit.
And then we opened it up beyond the conventional. Beyond the spreadsheet, we explored more creative, intuitive ways to reflect. Because reflection isn't one size fits all, it needs to resonate with who you are.
Looking back, Alex, it's amazing how these different elements, daily jottings, weekly analysis, monthly planning, annual audits, celebrating wins, learning from setbacks, and staying true to your values, all interlock. They create a continuous feedback loop for personal growth.
That's the magic of the reflection habit. It's a lifelong process. It's not about reaching a perfect state. It's about the journey of continuous self-improvement and achievement. Every day, every week, every month, every year, you have an opportunity to learn more about yourself and to steer your life with intention.
So, the call to action for our listeners is clear. Start where you are. Don't get overwhelmed by the entire system. Pick one element, maybe the daily journal or a simple weekly review, and begin. Build from there.
And remember, this isn't a destination. It's a practice. It's your personal journey of growth, guided by insight and intention. Embrace the process, be patient with yourself, and enjoy the profound rewards that come from truly understanding and shaping your own life.
It's been an absolute pleasure exploring this with you, Alex. From the simplest daily note to the grandest annual review, the reflection habit truly is a powerful tool for a fulfilling life.
Thank you, Lisa, and thank you to all our listeners for joining us on this series. We hope we've equipped you with the tools and inspiration to build your own lasting reflection habit.
Thanks for listening to the series.